What's in a picture? The colors are quite the same, but it seems like the image strangely falls out of the frame. What's in a title? What's in a name? A sense of belonging, but a lie just the same. What's in a voice? A tongue that can't be tamed. The sounds it leaves that linger when it calls my name. When they point the finger, looking for someone to blame, they seem to find the figures that all quite look the same. What's in a history that's a mystery once proclaimed, doomed to repeat its tragedy if the mentality remains the same? What if the enemy is not where the attention has been paid, but rather in the game behind the symphony where everyone's being played? We have to step away from the canvas that once had so much promise of the good that it would bring, at least long enough to consider that maybe it isn't worth the sting. Yes, it wined us, and it dined us, and it gave us everything. But when the dance was done, it took far more than it did ever bring. I took a leap of faith and stepped away from the thing that promised a ring, that represented a love, a commitment that would last through anything. I walked along the path less traveled, and many times I wondered, what did I do? I really had to question everything I thought I knew. And if the pain of my circumstances is what a loving God would put me through, maybe God had nothing to do with it at all. Then could I trust myself to avoid a future fall? When you bleed from such a wounded place, the pain tends to bind you from extending grace. How could I let this happen? How can I love this way again when I have nothing but disappointment to show for what I bring?
You have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet, who you're going because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to meet.
You never know who you're going to meet.
The thing about the wilderness, where untrodden paths are found, what is found there also is a beauty that relentlessly abounds. You see it in the lizards and the flies that they eat. It's in the very dirt and the rocks that sometimes pierce my feet. Oh, but my favorites are the trees and the language that they speak and the shelter they provide from the marvelous sun and its unforgiving heat. There's a lot I don't understand about the whys and the whens and the way in which I lost people I thought were the very best of friends. This chapter has been a very heavy lift. I lost a sense of myself that left me in a sea of uncertainty, adrift. in a profound mystery. What matters now is I'm not about to repeat history. My journey through this wilderness left me with some bruises from events I may never fully understand. But one thing that it reminded me of is who the fuck I am. I'm still in the wilderness. And in some ways, the conditions are so unforgiving here. I started out looking for something that really wasn't clear. One thing about God's plan is that it isn't for the weak, nor is the hero. I now look within to seek. I found something they can never take away. Something that was there all along, hidden in the display. I can't go back to who I used to be. That road has been destroyed by the love I found in me. No, I can't go back to the things I once did for you. Maybe if you hadn't taken me for granted, I'd still be happy to. In this new era, I find myself to be. I'm not doing nothing that takes me away from my divine frequency. I do what I want, with whom I want, for as long as I want, with no apology. I will be with whom I'm valued, where love is exchanged mutually. Many men wander in the wilderness of their ideology, unwilling to waver from what they've known, prisoners of ideas for which only pain has grown. But not this man. No, not this soul. In God's hands, I am whole. And what wholeness means to me is knowing that I don't have to chase what I can look at God to see. I don't have to long for what He has already placed in me. I choose to be careful rather than fearful. That is a choice of a peaceful mind. I choose to give love with a heart that is cheerful to the one they left behind. And when they attempt a return on a bridge they burned when they learned the value they once had, I'll be on the other side of new riches, too steep to see across burnt bridges, polishing pearls swine will never have. And even after that, I'll still have love for those who never recognized me, because my gifts are those that only unbound hearts see. And you know, it feels so good to be free from the need to be recognized. An experience many in this generation will seldom realize. I hope they find a love that lifts them beyond what they know to be. And I hope they find themselves unbound, like how I now know myself to be.